In this video, I'm going to walk through setting up a round-robin tournament with a single elimination playoffs. If you are using a double elimination playoffs, this will be a very similar setup. So once you've created your tournament, you'll find yourself on the tournament dashboard page. You can follow along with the setup guide, or you can start by going to the Manage tab in the left sidebar, and we can select the Format option here to manage our format. We can start by selecting a format, and you'll be presented with all the options that Tourny has available. These are all the different round types, as well as combinations of these rounds to create formats. So we're going to use the recommended round robin to single elimination format, but as mentioned, round robin to double elimination follows a very similar setup. In the next step, we can configure how teams will be ranked in the standings based on their results. We can decide how many points they're assigned per win or per tie, as well as customize the tiebreakers. Let's say, for instance, we want point differential to be better than or more important than set differential. And we can go to the next step. Here we can decide how many brackets we'll use for our playoffs. This is whether you want to use multiple flights for your playoffs, maybe if you have a large tournament. So if we increase this, we can see we can have an A flight and a B flight, but we'll leave it with a single bracket for the playoffs. Now that our format's ready, we can confirm it, and we can move to adding our teams. Here we can select the teams option and select Add Team. We can input our team names and bulk input multiple at once. And we can save those. Once our teams are added, we can move to setting up our rounds. Select the rounds option in the Manage page and start by setting up our pools. Here we can customize our pools by dragging and dropping teams, switching them between the pools. We can decide how many pools we want, and we can customize how many games will be played by each team or manually enter the games that are being played. We're going to generate games where every team plays every team within its pool once. So let's generate those games, and we are presented with a preview of those games, which we can take a look at, and once we're happy, we can save them. Once our pools and pool play games have been added, we'll move on to setting up our advancing teams. So in this step, you'll decide how many teams will move to the playoffs and how you want to determine which teams will move on. So let's add our advancing teams. Here we can say teams will be ranked moving into the playoffs based on their rank within their pool, or if we want, we can use overall ranks to compare teams across pools to get an overall rank for the round. And we can decide how many teams will move into the playoffs. Let's say we're going to only take half of our teams. 4 teams will move into the playoff bracket. And we can save those. Once that's set up, we can move on to setting up our playoff bracket. And here we'll see these are the 4 teams that will move into the playoffs based on their overall ranking. And if we want, we can customize who plays who in the playoffs, as well as add extra placement games if we want to further resolve the placements of the teams. And we can save those. Once our bracket's set up, let's take a look at our Games tab on the far left-hand side. We can see a list of all of our games, our pool play games, and then our semifinals, third place match, and first place match. If we take a look at the Standings tab, we can see the standings for the pool play, and if we switch to the playoffs, we can see our playoff bracket. If you'd like to schedule these games, you can return to the Manage tab. If we scroll down, you'll see Venues and Schedule. You can follow along with the steps provided there or follow along with one of our scheduling guides.